Fox News and Dominion have agreed to one of the largest settlements in any defamation case in the history of the United States. You guys already know defamation is a very difficult thing to prove in the United States of America. Free speech is pretty aggressively protective over especially media companies. And yet, for some reason, not for some reason, for very good reasons, Fox News was hit with a defamation suit, and, they did not want to go through the court process and basically settled for $780 million, which is a gigantic amount of money. No, it's not chump change. You're out of your fucking mind. I'm upset because our content has been cucked. I think discovery and the court process there, having, Tucker Carlson appear on the stand would have been delicious. It would have been excellent. But, Dominion is a company that makes like around $18 million a year. For them, close to $1 billion. I mean, a historic settlement. You're out of your mind. All right, let's take a look.
In with the news, and the news this morning is a blockbuster settlement in the lawsuit accusing Fox News of airing lies related to the 2020 election. The voting machine company will collect more than $787 million. However, Fox News will not have to make an apology on its air.
Tony, this was the ultimate last-minute settlement. The jury was seated. Opening statements were set to begin when both sides blinked and agreed to an eye-popping number. Avoiding a trial that would have turned Fox News' biggest stars into star witnesses, the company will cut a $787.5 million check to Dominion Voting Systems.
The president's lawyers alleging a company called Dominion,
Fox was accused of knowingly airing conspiracy theories and baseless claims falsely linking Dominion to a scheme to flip votes during the 2020 election.
Like Judge Janine cost them like almost $1 billion, like almost single-handedly. Like she was the worst offender out of all of the people involved in this. She was the worst offender, and it is kind of wild. I'm saying, this is overall a good thing. Fox will have to be more careful with defamation suits. They will have to be more careful with defamation in the future. They had them dead to rights. That's the reason why they settled. An apology is not supposed to come out of this, but yeah, they were trying to max out basically. It seems like they were just trying to simply max out on the realistic dollar value that they could get out of them. And they did that. They did just that. The number is biblical. Do I think Dominion could have gotten more if they didn't take the statement offer? I don't know. I think what was it like? They were looking for 4, but that number is unrealistic, especially because they don't make that much money.
So much for those claims that voter fraud never happens. Of course it happens. They knew it happened.
That's despite evidence, including internal messages in which Fox executive Suzanne Scott warned challenging Trump's bogus claims could hurt ratings.
It's just funny that these guys literally text. They text as though no one is watching, okay? Like, they text as though they're like, surely there will never be a moment where, I don't know, people will potentially sue Fox News for defamation. Like, your private text messages are not so fucking private, especially if there's like a suit. So don't fucking talk about how you are like actively and knowingly and willingly lying to your fucking audience, especially when you're lying to your audience about a lot of shit and you openly mention that you're lying to them about a lot of shit. That's what's hilarious about it, is that through the discovery process, they didn't even just find that like they clearly were lying about the Dominion stuff, even though they knew better. They also were lying about other things, like Tucker Carlson hating Donald Trump, like absolutely hating him. The disdain that they have for their audience is crazy.
The folks at Fox are big boys and girls, and they can say whatever statement they want in the future to recognize what they did and what this court found. But we think that the dollar figure that they agreed to today speaks for itself.
The settlement spares Dominion from having to put its fate in the hands of 12 jurors and from years of likely appeals if the case went to trial.
They get an acknowledgement that this was wrong and they get to move on. And in that sense, this is more accountability than people have seen from Fox News.
I don't know. They're going to pay without any visible to the average American consequences. The only long-term positive from this is that they'll have to look out for defamation lawsuits. First of all, they always have to look out for defamation lawsuits. They have lawyers on retainer for that purpose. And secondly, $787.5 million is literally the most visible way that you could, you could openly admit wrongdoing without admitting wrongdoing. Every normal human being is going to see that and go, oh, okay, never mind. I mean, these guys got fucking shellacked. They got milked, okay? They got milked like a cow out to pasture. They were bursting from the seams and they got suckled on. The only reason why many people will not ever hear about this is because Fox News will not cover it. Fox News most likely is not going to cover this situation. There's no shot that they cover it. You know what I mean? Like, people on the Republican side will hear about it through people like yourself, okay? Telling your mom, telling your dad, telling your uncles that are fucking QAnon or whatever. They're sure as hell not going to hear about it on Fox News, or even if they cover it on Fox News, it'll be in the morning. It'll be in like one of the earlier hours. It will never be during prime time. I doubt Tucker Carlson talks about it and says like it's really fucked up that Dominion milked us dry. Here are my text messages talking about how I hate Donald Trump. But for those of you who think this is not a big deal, no media company has $1 billion, close to $1 billion in cash in circulation that they just have lying around that they would easily throw at a problem like this. This is a gigantic sum of money. Obviously, it will be held up in courts for many, many years, by the way. They're not going to immediately pay the settlement. Like that process is like a lengthy one. So they'll do everything they can to make sure that they set up a payment plan that's like manageable, blah, blah, blah. And they won't hit it won't genuinely eviscerate their stock prices or anything like that, or it won't eviscerate their valuation overall. However, having said that, this is a gigantic, gigantic sum of money, okay? It's huge. Also, here's another thing. I'm sure they have insurance. Like, they must have libel insurance, something like that. They're a media company. This is like, a media company like Fox News is going to have some level of insurance on this, right? I assume. It's like being a driver and not having car insurance. Like, you're going to need it. I would go so far as to say it's like being a driver, being a professional truck driver and not having wheels, okay, on your truck. That's what it's like for Fox to go out to market without having any kind of, libel insurance.
There was an acknowledgement, and certainly it's not the way I wrote it. And I had some conversations with our team, my co-founder and I. And at the end of the day, the court system really is about accountability. We feel we got it. And all of the facts that we had discovered during the case had already come to light.
Joining us now, lead counsel for Dominion, Justin Nelson. I think one of the big questions this morning is sort of how do you put a price tag on trust in U.S. democracy, right? You can't.
Oh my God, they have to be so fucking libbed up. They can't even celebrate this openly. What's the price tag on U.S. democracy? What do you mean? This is a defamation suit, okay? This is a defamation court case that happened specifically because they lied about the voter tabulation software and machines that Dominion was utilizing in the election. They're literally they're not worth this much. They got a payout that was gigantic. It was basically hush money. That's what they got paid. They got paid in shut the fuck up money, and they took it. Of course they took it, because the money is gigantic.
Was this about money for Dominion, or was this about truth?
Well, I think it was really our two goals were accountability and to get compensation for this massive amount of harm that occurred to the company. And I think we achieved both. On the truth, on the accountability, over the past few months, you've seen this mountain of evidence.
Yeah, if it was about the truth, they wouldn't have fucking settled for $780 million. If it was about the truth, they would have let the fucking court case go. They would have let it ride. And then on top of that, they would have literally probably gotten even more money in the long run, I assume. They probably would have actually forced the settlement for a higher sum midway through the court process, because Fox News did this to stop the hemorrhaging. Fox News did this because they did not want there to be any kind of deliberations. They did not want Tucker Carlson and Rupert Murdoch and Laura Ingraham on the stand getting eviscerated and cross-examined by Dominion's lawyers on issues that pertain to them hating Donald Trump. They did not want that to happen. That's the reason why they spent $787 million on a company that makes $17 million a year. They wanted to stop that.
Fox knew that it was lies. And the statement that Fox released yesterday acknowledged the court's order that called these false. This was the first time that a court has held that the election lies were in fact lies. And this was the first time that someone has been held accountable in the form of a nearly $800 million payment for that.
Would you have preferred if you could have gotten your druthers to have the Fox News anchors and folks on air say, you know what, we lied, or at least have them have to make a statement? Would you have preferred that?
Law, what is this lip shit? What good is an apology from Fox going to do? I mean, it's good to have all of these motherfuckers go on Fox News and tell their audiences that they lied to them. It's better than not having that happen. You know what I mean? I'm sure Fox News didn't want that to happen at all, especially if they set the boundaries on when and where they can say it. And it wasn't simply relegated to like the 4 a.m. time slot. You know what I mean? Can you imagine Tucker Carlson live on the Tucker Carlson show time slot saying, we misled you, viewers, and we apologize? Even if he says things like, you know, oftentimes in our effort to arrive at the truth, sometimes we get it a little wrong or whatever. Openly recognizing that, openly having to admit that he lied to his viewers on his own fucking time slot would be crazy.
It's always bittersweet when you settle a case because you think you have a great case. The issue is, of course, that there's always risk in going to a jury trial. And my client really, these employees of Dominion have been so incredibly harmed, and they still get threats, death threats. It's really difficult for the company to be operating. And so for them to have this settlement really does mean a lot.
For the chatter who said testifying in court doesn't change anything, Alex Jones did it. You don't even know this probably, but Tucker Carlson did this as well. Tucker Carlson was hit with a separate suit a while back where the Tucker Carlson show, Tucker Carlson Tonight, openly mentioned that they were not a news show. They were not even a commentary show, but you know, they were an entertainment show. Like, yes, so you are correct on your assessment that like this doesn't genuinely end up hurting them. Yeah, their audience doesn't seem to care because they keep giving them that juicy fake news that they want. It's a bit of both. They said no reasonable person would believe them. Yeah, I mean, it literally does not matter. These are people in his audience that are unreasonable. But because of Fox News' size and I guess like legitimacy in the field of news due to their like actual objective news coverage side, like their journalism side and whatnot, there is a much, much larger audience out there that still watches Fox News, that are in the margins, that would not have actually, that will see this kind of thing and inevitably go, okay, you know, I'll be a little bit more skeptical of their coverage in the future. Here's a CNN anchor who worked at Fox for 16 years. Here's why she thinks Fox got out of the Dominion lawsuit easy. I love that, like, you know, you don't question the CNN anchor beyond their experience at Fox News. Like, you don't ask yourself at any point, you're like, why did we hire this person?